The Gorgeous Toad, a short story. An unexpected stop on a road trip. Not everyone has a friend named Boomerang, but I do. He's not named this for any edifying reason. It is largely because it is his habit, should he ever lend you anything, to say, "It's a boomerang," meaning that he expects it to come back. He is also a tiny 15th Aborigine, along with, I would say, Serbian and Irish, but it is enough indigenousness for him to suffer mild discrimination. I myself discriminate against him routinely. We pull in from our road trip to an all-night auto haven on the open highway and I say, "I'll go in and get the coffee. You wait here. They probably don't like your type in the store." To which he would make some smart remark about white devils. Despite this, he is a prosperous bastard who makes a good living selling caravans to grey nomads. And he is himself a man of outdoor adventure. He gets the walkabouts. He owns a top-of-the-range Toyota four-wheel drive off-roader, and he would say, "Let's road trip to Esperance for some South Sea air and fishing." It is a prodigious automobile, khaki cream with brown trims, worth at least 50,000, and Boomerang likes to point out its rugged virtues. "Listen to this gear change," he says, and he revs it, hits the clutch and toggles the stick. We are doing 150 plus down the dark highway. He takes it to the full throttle. There's not another town for 200 miles. The road is dead straight. We are in fact belting. We are hoofing, we are hurtling, we are burling apace. We are raging along. We're at a gallop. We hit a poor surface, but the vehicle stays sturdy. Boomerang floors it again, a remark on the formidable suspension. And it is as I am remarking on the formidable suspension that suddenly Boomerang hits the brakes. That is, he slams the brakes. They are good brakes, and they brake us abruptly. From 150 plus, we come to a searing, jolted, knuckle-whitening conclusion. The wheels lock, the brake pads complain, my dinner revisits my throat, but we pull up, still on the highway, our headlights beaming onto the wasteland road. Only seatbelts prevented us from flying through the windscreen at 150 plus, but it was hairy. All of a sudden I was a wide-eyed bucket full of adrenaline. "What?" Owen explained. "What'd you stop for?" Looking out, I can see we were adrift in the absolute nowheres. Boomerang sits up and looks at the road before us. "Bloody hell, Boomerang," I'm saying. We did the big skid. All four wheels burned the rubber. For a long moment afterwards, I'm in the jitters. "Bloody hell, Boomerang," I says again. "What the bloody hell did you pull up for? Was he just demonstrating the vehicle's remarkable braking times?" He is still looking at the road, illumined in our lights. "That's a gorgeous toad," he says, eventually. Toad? Oh, look. We have pulled up just short of a large toad who is sitting, toading it up, right in the middle of the highway. "Toad," I says. "I couldn't run it over," says Boomerang. "That's a gorgeous toad." So instead he slams on the brakes. Bloody hell. I complain that he might have killed us and the toad, but he is unapologetic. "That's a gorgeous toad," he says again. How he assessed its gorgeousness at 150 kilometres per hour is a mystery. The toad is going nowhere. I can see it is warty and rotund, with massive thigh muscles and bulbous eye lumps on its flat, wide face. It is possibly green, but the night is too dark to say. "What sort of toad is it?" I ask. "I don't know," he says. "I'm not a field naturalist." But he is a man who appreciates toads. He considers this one especially handsome. "Damn, that's a gorgeous toad," he says, looking at it again. I go to get out of the car, saying, "I'll move it on." But Boomerang says, No, leave it. It will move on eventually." He's intent to sit there with the engine idling, watching it in the headlights. We sit there thus for a while, just watching. So what, in your opinion, makes a toad gorgeous? I wonder at length. Toadness, he says. Sheer toadness. Look at him. He's 100% toad. I look and even try to see it. Perhaps it was the tiny 15th of Aborigine in him, but I fail to see the toadness. According to your people, I then venture, being racial, it was a giant toad that saved the world from the primordial flood, back in the dream time. Never heard that one, says Boomerang, making no register. It's not one of those hallucinogenic ones, is it? I wonder. I'm not going to lick it to find out, he says. He starts to sink into a natural reverie of admiration, and I have to wonder, how many types of toads are there? And what's the difference between a frog and a toad anyway? I don't know, he says again. I'm not a biologist, but I know a good-looking toad when I see one. The toad remains motionless. Are you sure it's even alive? I ask, eventually. Yeah, he says. He's just meditating. Meditating, you reckon? Yeah. Meditative creatures, toads. They spend a lot of time meditating. Are you sure they're not just waiting for insects? No, meditating. What do they meditate on? I don't know. Not the Dalai Lama. He then reveals his primal toad connection. Once, he says, I was down at the lakes fishing. It was a perfectly still night. The stars came out. The sky was massive, and it reflected off the water, like I was in a huge bowl. And the toads started up, croaking. And they went for hours, a symphony of toads, singing to the stars. It was magical. It was one of the few times I've ever felt connected to this land. I think this is a sad admission, but it is a land that doesn't invite connections. I gather it made the toad some manner of totem. I ask him to make conversation about the doings of toads and their habitat, but he says, I don't know, I'm not Steve Irwin. After a while I suggest again that it might be dead. No sign of movement, not a tinker. It looks dead to me, I say. If it was breathing, it was doing some specialised shallow breathing through its nose, because I couldn't see its lungs inflating. Meditating, he insists. And so we sit in Boomerang's extravagant Toyota on the dark highway in the middle of the absolute nowheres, waiting at the leisure of a gorgeous meditating toad. Might we not drive around it? A single lane, narrow road, sandy verges. There is a chance it might hop under the wheels. It'll move in a minute, says Boomerang. Then he says, I suppose they meditate on toadness. This guy is pure toad. Look at him. He's just a toad being a toad. In the middle of the road, I point out. Very zen, I suggest. Dunno, says Boomerang. All he knew was that this was a fantastic specimen of toad, and when it loomed in the headlights, he couldn't run it down. He had bars on the front of his Toyota for running down wallabies and other wildlife, but the gorgeous toad had moved him to mercy. It's not an endangered species, is it? I wonder, thinking that if it is, that might possibly warrant a sudden precipitous stop on a midnight highway. He looked at me as if to say, not David Attenborough. No, he says, that is a really fine-looking toad. I don't think I've ever seen such a good-looking toad. I say I doubt I've seen enough toads to make a call on the matter. Beautiful, he says. Can you eat them? I ask. What am I, the bush tucker man? It's not one of your ancestors, is it? I say, getting racial again. You white fellas don't understand nature, he says. Nature? His Toyota guzzles gas and spits out carbon like a bitch. No, he says once more. That is a gorgeous toad. I am perforce left thinking about toadness. I myself had overheard toad symphonies in the outback, but it had never moved me to a connection. The land is alien. Toadness makes my mind go cold and slimy to the touch. The creepiest thing about a toad, I'm thinking, is its white underbelly. What's that about? There is no toad symphony this night. When I lower the passenger side window to listen, the bleak, barren, bitter, unforthcoming land has nothing to sing about. Boomerang sees things differently. There are some things in nature where you just want to stop and give it a round of applause. It could be anything. An ant carrying half a Mars bar on its back, or a blackbird in a white gum tree, a fabulous feather, the being of a bee, an eye-gobbling sunset, a rock replete with rockness. He can spot the optimum, and this is optimum toad. Then finally, as the toad continues to go nowhere, he admits, as if summing it up, I just like the way it doesn't give a fuck. And I can see what he means. The toad is too busy being a toad, meditating if you will, to give a croaker's cuss about anything but. It has life in perspective in that respect. I think we'll have to move it on, I say again, when it is clear the toad isn't moving. It'll move in a minute, says Boomerang. Another 10 minutes go by. I borrowed a pair of binoculars from him once. It's a boomerang, he said. He wanted them to come back. It was weeks before I returned them. I know him to be a patient man. Eventually, finally, belatedly, Boomerang honks the car horn. It makes no impression on the toad. During the lull, I offer the account whereby toads are symbols of carnality and of the sinful flesh. They are, that is, creatures of the lower planes, sensuality's slimy throb, the realms of voluptuous indulgence, mindless and ungodly appetites. This is in white man's symbolism, I explain. Is that right? Says Boomerang, and honks the horn again. It's a symbol of mortality, the toad, I say. In his reckoning, in toad symbolism, there is no symbolism. There's just toad. I'm not David Suzuki, but that sounds zen to me. I could have left it splattered, you know, he then begins. Just a toad staying on the highway. But he wouldn't care. It's like the grey nomads in the caravans. What are they looking for? Just a place where they can be themselves. Where they can be so much themselves, it doesn't matter if or when death runs them down. If a big truck splatters them on the highway one night. They know that death's coming. They can see the headlights. Everyone is just a stain on the highway in the end. It is at that cheerful thought that, lo and behold, the toad concludes his meditations, looks left and right, and then hops away into the darkness without so much as an amen. Boomerang says nothing, not a thing. It is what it is. Soon we are back to 150 plus.